What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hey, if you guys could, go subscribe over to the 560WQM YouTube page. Watch Tobin and Leroy every single weekday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Back Tuesday, if we're going to have Memorial Day off. See what we'll be reacting to. Hope everybody's mind is a little bit better after what was one of the most painful nights in Miami Heat fandom history. I still am, getting over the whole deal of it. The NBA did come out today, though, and they wanted to let everybody know, hey, everybody who hit us with your Twitter screenshots, you're wrong, and your eyes are also wrong, and that the actual time that was supposed to be up there, we got right. So they told everybody to kick the sharpest of rocks with their last 2-minute report. What are you going to do? As I said last night, amidst the whole thing, everybody who's crying about it, what can you do? They're not going to go back and play the game about it. Certainly seemed like there were shenanigans there. I mean, the Celtics were allowed to go hooks galore, like there were a couple of pirates out there, and nothing was getting called in that direction. In fact, I think the NBA actually came out and said that the Heat benefited from 2 non-calls at the home stretch. Isn't it a delight how they cover their tracks? Again, not petty about it at all. Let's just move on. Game 7 getting going on Monday night. Can the Miami Heat avoid a humiliating label of being the first team to give up a 3-0 series lead in NBA history? It has never been done before, and they would be the first and would do it at the hands of a team going to the NBA Finals and do it at the hands of one of their fiercest rivals going to the NBA Finals. It is a lot on the line going into this one, and particularly I think it's an interesting one for the Heat's 2 stars, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. These guys have been fantastic all year, have had fantastic playoff runs, have had a fantastic career together. I mean, you're talking 4 years together since Jimmy came down here and Bam moved into the starting role, multiple All-Stars between them, multiple All-NBAs for Jimmy, multiple All-Defenses for Bam. And these guys, as a Heat fan looking at this dynamic duo as they step into this thing, man, they really just had a stinker for the ages in Game 6. It really is going to be one that I do think sits with them for a long, long time. If the Heat are going to let the bottom fall out of this thing and don't get past the Boston Celtics and don't get into the NBA Finals, this is the type of stuff that just sticks with you forever as a Heat fan. And I say this as a guy who is huge fans of both of them. I love watching these guys play basketball. I love what they have done in this era, their little era of Miami Heat basketball. But you're talking about going into this Game 7 and having the lasting image, if they're not able to rally and get things right after going up 3-0, after talking a whole heap of shit, which, guilty. Then you talk about going into this scenario of a Game 7 where, I don't know if this is one of those where it's a blueprint game. One of the things that was always said back in the day with the Big Three, the Game 6 that LeBron had in 2012, they called it, the blueprint game. That if he didn't win that game, maybe the Heat were going to trade some people off. They were going to go and trade Chris Bosh, and the Big Three era would have been, you don't know. I mean, like, they could have gone to the summer and maybe they would have just said, hey, maybe we should just keep these awesome guys all together. But that was always the theory. Would something big happen if this catastrophic thing happens? And you think about how crazy it is where the pendulum was just a week ago, and the Miami Heat up 3-0, and people are firing the Celtics coach, and they're saying, are they going to break up Tatum and Brown? And now we're on the other side of it where it's like, hey, is Eric Spoelstra really going to give up a 3-0 lead? Is Jimmy Butler really going to give up a 3-0 lead? Is Bam Adebayo going to give up a 3-0 lead? And then where does this future for a team and a tandem that had such a great postseason run that nobody saw coming except for them? And even then you have to question what their sanity was, right? What does it mean that you get to this unprecedented place of being an 8th seed that was a win away from the NBA Finals, but you do it and you collapse and you lose 4 straight and you allow your rival to move on and fight for the championship while you're sitting at home trying to wonder what the hell happened? And it's tough not to just point to those two and wonder, like, well, what has happened? I mean, you go and you look at what their last 3 games have been. I mean, Bam Adebayo, a guy who, at his peak is giving you 20 and 10 in the wins for these Heat. In the last 3 games, he's averaging 12.3 points a game. And you're just like, that's just not good enough. You need more. You need more from Bam Adebayo, who was dunking on everybody's head for like 6 games straight, including, his first career postseason triple-double, almost having a second one. And now we're looking at this and we're like, well, where the hell did that guy go? Where the hell is this guy who was getting and being an absolute mauler all the time? Where is he? What is going on there? What is happening there? And we know, look, I get it. Eric Spoelstra will sit there, and he said this after the game. He doesn't care what those guys do. This was Spo, if you didn't hear it.
And gather ourselves and get ready for this Game 7, all right?
Yeah, I think Jimmy and Bam ended up going a combined 9 of 37 from the field.
I don't give a damn what they shot.
We're
up. We're up 1. We may win this thing as ugly as it's ever been done. I don't care. Yeah. What guys shoot. It's the competitive will that I'm talking about, and those guys are going to bring it on. It's playoffs, so I have no idea what the day is, but I guess Monday. All right, that good? Thank you.
But it's tough to I get, and I love that Eric Spoelstra sticks up for his guys like that. But when you have Jimmy Butler saying after the game, not only just taking blame, saying that he told the locker room, look, if I play better, we're not here.
As good or as bad as we played tonight, we still lost. So we still got a job to do at the end of the day. And we will be in this thing together, home, away, on the road. And if, like I told the guys on the bench, I told the guys in the locker room that if I play better, we're not even in this position, honestly speaking. And I will be better, and that's what makes me smile because those guys follow my lead. So when I'm playing better, I think we're playing better as a whole.
And so if Jimmy takes that kind of accountability for it, it's tough not to look at it and say, yeah, we're all just saying the most obvious thing, but if Bam and Jimmy, and even Leroy was texting me this during the game, man, they play average. They probably blew out the Celtics yesterday. That's probably what would have gone down, and the Heat would already be in the NBA Finals. For them to play that piss poor most of the game and for it to come down to fractions of a second, we're all making ourselves crazy going on Reddit threads and dissecting seconds and trying to get in the muffled sounds of what was going on with Zach Sarber at the replay center. If these guys just play a little bit better, anywhere close to what they're capable of, you feel like you're absolutely dancing in the NBA Finals already. And Jimmy, where you could look at his counting stats and be like, it's not awful what he's done, but this is a guy who was averaging at one point 35 points a game in the playoffs. The last 3, he's averaged 22. He's shooting 36% from the field. You just where playoff Jimmy has gone, I don't know. I don't know where the guy's at. And I think that the thing that's crazy is I don't want to be what the Celtics fan is being, where they were casting off everybody, ready to, because I really like these guys. I really like watching them play basketball. And it has been really, really fun watching them over these last 4 years together. And so this humiliation that is looming over their head. You're like, I almost wish that this series would have been 3-1. I wish it would have been 2-2. Whatever the route was, I wish it would have been that, because just hanging over it is the guillotine of you're the first team to ever give a 3-0 lead. And I don't know what's going on with Jimmy, man. I don't think that he's physically all the way right. Watching him yesterday, I just don't see a guy who's got all the commanding bursts that he's had. But then it's crazy because he goes into this mode in the last 5 minutes where he's just throwing his body at the rim and he's getting foul calls galore and he's pulling up for 3 and you're seeing glimpses of it. And you're just like, man, does he have anything where he can tap into that for the entirety of a Game 7? And if you do, you like your chances. One of the first reason I gave, and it made my co-host mental with walking out of me on Studio Nearly, the number one reason I gave for the Heat to be in this spot, to beat the Bucks back in round 1, was because of Jimmy Butler. Because I believe in what Jimmy Butler can do when the games are highest, when the stakes are at their steepest. I like watching this guy rise to a level that nobody thinks that he can. Whether it be in the NBA Finals with Bam hurt, whether it be when the Lakers look overwhelming and he's sitting there and doing all he can, and he's heaped over the score. He's heaped over the pavilion there, and just gives everything that he can. And nobody thinks that he had a shot to do that. And I think of last year, Game 6, where the Heat look absolutely dead. He looked dead in the water, and then somehow is able to muster something in a game 6 to bring it to a game 7 where he was a shot away from getting the Miami back to the finals. And that's, I think, the painful thing about this is, like, yesterday was so crushing that it was almost at a point where I almost forgot about the 3-0 lead. Like you lose in that fashion, and you watch your team that you root for in that fashion lose, and it's that close. I don't even care how it got to that. Like, you just think about the idea of, like, the championship, playing for the championship was right there, and it's just snatched away. And I almost forget about, man, they've had 3 cracks at this, but that was really the only one where you're just like, oh, you thought you were going to move on at that point. And the fact that you put yourself in this position is really, really tough. And you have this, humiliation looming of being the first team that did this. And I don't buy into the people who are like, well, it's already embarrassing that you're going to a game 7. What is it? It's 3 teams that it's gone to a game 7. So this is the 4th that's gone to a game 7. Can you name the 3 teams that won in 7 that had a 3-0 lead? I bet you can't. You want to know why? Nobody gives a rat's ass. They didn't blow it. But you don't want to be the first. You don't want to be the first. I certainly don't want to be the first to Boston and be the team that lost to Boston and let them have their stupid. They're going to make the stupid "don't let us win one" t-shirts. That's my saying, don't lose. I've been using that for years, and now all of a sudden they're going to be able to take that from us. It pisses me off. I have people who are like, I have this one wacko who was in my mentions yesterday. I had a ton where people were blowing me up. Like, don't get me wrong. Usually that stuff doesn't bother me, but I like to laugh at it. One guy wants me to kiss Greeny's ass. Like, I was like, wait a minute. Who the hell likes Mike Greenberg this much? Greenberg actually has fans like this where a guy who doesn't follow me saw my take on Mike Greenberg, and he is looming in my mentions for me to kiss Greeny's ass, to which I will say I will not, but I would hate the fact that this phony gets to be right just because he just went out with the crazy take on a Tuesday, crazy summer take Tuesday. I think they're going to be the first team to do it. And I'm just like, I cannot allow this. Boys, Jimmy, Bam, you cannot allow this, okay? Like, gotta play better. Gotta play better. Gotta get this going. I need to see the best out of those guys. That at least I can swallow. If this is going to go down, at least give me 30+ from Jimmy. At least give me a 20-10 from Bam and know that they went down with that. Because yesterday's game was nutty. I mean, you can't, most of the time these guys, and especially Jimmy, if Jimmy is dealing with something physically, it's probably from carrying this Heat roster over the last 4 years because it has been a flawed roster. It has been there with some young guys in Bam Adebayo and Tyler who are just trying to develop and what they have been in the league. This guy's in the prime of his career, in the prime of his winning. You know what a physical way he plays. You know that he was banged up in that Knicks series with the ankle injury. So maybe he's not all the way back. I don't know. But I also know that he's looked broken at certain times in playoffs too, and then he's bounced back and looked like Superman. So I'm not ruling that out either. I don't know what I'm going to get in this game 7. I know that I'm gonna keep hope up. I know that Spo sounded like a crazy person.
We wish we could tip this thing off right now. Right now, we want to tip this thing off. And let's play another 48 minutes, but we'll wait 48 hours and do this thing in Boston.
We gotta play. We'll play right now. And I'm just like, Spo, I don't think you're playing right now, dude. I think these guys need to take a nap before you guys go up there. And not worried about the environment there. I mean, look, this team has shown they can go win in Boston. They've done it already twice in this damn series. They did it last year with their season on the line. And so this being on the road is not what concerns me. Getting over the mental hurdle, I don't know. I mean, look, you would have thought that Boston had a mental hurdle last year with what Jimmy did to them, with a chance of, with a chance to close out at home. Jimmy walked into their building and humiliated them, and then they were able to come down here and put it on the Heat. And get and sneak away with a win. You would have thought, game 6 with Ray Allen hitting that shot. I mean, the Spurs and Heat, that came down to the wire. And, if Tim Duncan doesn't miss what does Stugat say? You missed a bunny. If he didn't miss that bunny, maybe we're talking a different story here. So I do think that there is you can mentally get over some of this stuff and just look, it's all coming down to this one game. But it is an interesting one with this one being such a close rivalry. You know, the only thing that sucks about it for a Heat fan is like it took the 3-0 route to get here, because most of this has been hell, Jimmy being in these brink moments. That has been his 3-point shot that misses, the carom of Marcus Smart's 3-point shot finding, and Derek White looming there for a shot. And then, Jimmy was even asked about this yesterday, about all the bad bounce that he had from Rowan McCartney from Sports Illustrated, about how he's been on the wrong end of so many bounces in the playoffs.
Jimmy, over the last few years, you've somehow been involved in some of the craziest playoff bounces, endings. Was there any part of you walking the floor like, I can't believe this is happening again?
Nope. I got to figure out a way. And the craziest part is I don't got too much to do. We're going to do it as a unit every single time. And we're going to be in this thing together. I know that for a fact. When we huddle up after the game, after a tough loss like this one, everybody's smiling because we know we're very capable of it. I'm telling you. And we're not going to let up. I'm not going to let anybody quit. I'm not going to let our guys quit. I don't give a damn what happens. We're going to go in there and we're going to win.
The difference with this one is this has the opportunity where he's got the chance for it to be in his hands and see if he can right the wrong that all these margin plays have been out for him. And if the Heat don't, I don't know. I mean, we're going to have a lot of summer to discuss what the hell that means for him if they're not able to do this. But look, man, for Jimmy and Bam, the two guys that I really like watching play basketball, I really root for. I want to see them rally. They've certainly been getting a lot from their role guys. I think Caleb, what a coming out party this playoffs has been for Caleb Martin. This guy's been amazing. Gabe Vincent has made himself a whole lot of money. Duncan Robinson looks like he's got his swagger back a little bit. Those 2 threes missed aside. Like, Duncan Robinson looks like he's found himself a little bit again. And look, Max Strus is capable, dude. Max Strus is still capable. What's the word Spo uses? Ignitable. He's still capable of that too, where he can get going. Maybe this is one of those games where Kyle Lowry can dial it back a little bit and give you one of those playoff performances. They need it. They're going to need it, because you're sure that, you got to go into this in that first quarter and hope you can avoid the haymaker and make this competitive from jump. And see if you can avoid being on the wrong end of history and get yourself back into the NBA Finals.